Oh, we don't even have a quorum.
Nope.
I guess Mr. Horn and I started something. We do need a couple of minutes at the end to kind of...
Well, I think whenever we're back together, we're going to take a quick vote if we what do we want to do as far as continuation.
Right, yes, I mean, we got the adjournment process, we got mention of the bills and anything else before the board, as well as many things you may have on the planner's plate. And what's the other thing we have to deal with?
The zoning.
Just the next meeting time and
The
date.
zoning amendments.
Agreement, all that. So there was some administrative issues in the last 5 minutes or so. Hopefully not longer than that. Knock on wood.
All right, so it's now 9:40. According to our bylaws, we have a hard stop at 10 o'clock. We have other business to get to. So planning board, what do? Do we continue? Do we try to extend past 10 o'clock? What's the board's pleasure?
I'm willing to continue. I mean, how many, do we have a count to how many people are left that need to speak?
I'm not sure.
We're on number 7 right now, so.
One more after this.
One more.
Oh, that.
One more, all right.
Okay. Then,
So just for the sake of decorum, if we only have one more person to speak, we're definitely going to push through.
okay.
Thank you.
Hello, gentlemen. My name's Virginia Conrad, Slick Conrad, and my family home is 5 JB Ave. I'm here tonight to represent my family and the abutters of the Butler project. We believe that the planning board has been misled from the onset of this project by the developer. Maybe it's been corrected, but we truly feel there's an essence of misleading in this process. Bait and switch was a term initially used by your board member, Mr. Richard Clark, on 3/10/21. This term clearly articulates what has occurred in the planning of this project so far. I believe, and I'm representing the people of Shepherd Ave, Mason Road, and JB Ave, in saying that I believe that this is a red flag to anyone planning to continue to enter into any business agreement with such a party. As was so aptly stated by an abutter in the other room, this land was originally on sale to place 5 lots on it. This developer is attempting, after we've all heard about the other arrangements, but this developer is attempting now to squeeze 6 homes, all to increase his profits with no consideration, I don't believe, nor do any of us believe, for the tax-paying neighbors of this project or the town of Dudley. The impact on the neighborhood has already been comprehensively presented to you tonight. I will not rehash it. We encourage you to review the concerns brought forth tonight and please do diligence for the town and the community to them. This board cannot allow this plan to continue any further. We are appealing to you to use rational judgment, come to a conclusion that benefits the tax-paying neighbors of this project and the town of Dudley. This project is clearly not in the best interest of this particular neighborhood. And as Section 6 of your planning board rules state, decisions by the planning board should be made in the public interest. I hope you'll be mindful of this as you vote on this project in the near future. Your allegiance to the town tax-paying citizens of Dudley is your primary responsibility. That's your business. This is already a somewhat shady, non-transparent manner that's being dealt with on the part of the developer. Such behavior could possibly bring more shady developers who think Dudley is a regulatory pushover for development. What will happen to Dudley then? Your neighborhoods, perhaps, gentlemen. We need to support future growth, yes, no question, but also protect our town from shady development exploitation. This board needs to be more critical and thorough. This neighborhood group, we are strongly united as a neighborhood group, and we will continue to strongly oppose this project if the process does continue. And believe me, this group is a very strong group who will continue to oppose this project. So, any questions?
Questions, anybody?
No, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Just for the those of the board members, we do have letters that haven't been read yet. Bill, we have to try to figure out how to deal with those people who.
Tonight, yeah, we can do it another night.
Continuation. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name's Wayne Killian, and I own the property with my brother at 98 Mason Road, which would be right behind Lot 2 and part of Lot 3, I believe. Yep. My main concern is the water. When my father built the house, he had a system put into the basement which funnels all groundwater underneath the foundation to a sump hole. To this day, we still even get water coming through the bulkhead. And the water table in that area has gotten worse over the years. I'm just curious if they had perked the land at all, and that's why they decided to build slabs, not cellar holes. And that was my one question.
Could you take a question about the percolation test?
Yes, we didn't have to perk because it's got town sewerage, but they did do a soil evaluation with Graves.
Okay. Then why just build slabs then and not cellar holes?
Because we determined that groundwater was 2 feet, and we didn't wanna have a problem like you had with,
Well, doesn't that kind of show that the land is too wet to build on?
no,
Well, the land is built on, I mean, all around it.
But even with the water system built into the basement, we still get water. And that's just from the groundwater coming through. So I think, just the fact that he wants to build on slabs and not a cellar hole, that shows that the water table in that area is too high to build on. Because even if they move any of that land back there, it's going to affect our property at 98 Mason Road. So that's my one concern.
Okay, this is a couple times that the water has come up a couple times, so just in theory, and this would be confirmed by Graves Engineering or engineering team, is that once this land is developed, those water issues of anything from this area going over there should be taken care of. What?
the water doesn't go uphill.
Right.
It goes down, yes, it goes that way, so
And then the
he's
flow
at
that
nine-
goes downhill is being trapped in these two areas right here. So in theory, once this is developed, the situation should get better.
I know it won't. After...
I'm not an engineer, so
After, 50 years, 60 years living there? No, it won't get better. And that's all I have to say.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so with that being the last person that we were informed who wants to speak tonight?
There's one more.
There's one more?
Yep.
Please show him in.
Sign it, please.
I think I'm the last, so good evening.
Good
And thank
evening.
you for your time and your attention to these efforts. As the last person, I had spoken to a neighbor down the street. he's out there in a wheelchair, Mr. James Paul. He lives at 2 Shepherd's Way, and he's concerned about his property and property number 4. He says he's very concerned about the water flowing, and he hopes, he's very scared about it for himself and his family and his neighbors. So I just had to speak up for him. And as I was closing, I'm so proud of our neighbors, and I'm the last of my family, 5 Davy Ave, a Slipka member. But I know, as I speak to this man, a wonderful, nice neighbor, I pass and we wave as we go by every day. I've grown up in this town, and I have served, I'm a teacher, retired teacher, over 25 years in the school system. I've loved it. I've loved this town. I've volunteered. The playground committee, the school buildings committees for several years, and the town library. So I know the challenges, but I also know you're following rules and regulations, and it's so challenging. But keep in mind the golden rule and regulations. You want to treat other people's property, other people's children, other people's families and neighbors like you would like to be treated. And that's how this town raised us, and we want to bring that forward. I'm so proud. And I know you're trying your best, and it's so hard. And this world is changing so fast. And I'm nervous speaking as the last person, because how do you follow those hearts? So I want to thank you all, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Could you sign in the sign-in sheet, please?
sure.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. So, having heard the last speaker for the evening, we will have a continuation of this topic.
Public hearing.
Public hearing at our next meeting, scheduled for 2 weeks from now, 20.
Well, I guess I would like to ask Peter whether he'd be able to make revisions to the plan in time for the next meeting and give people a chance to be able to review the changes. We had our engineer, Graves Engineering, submit a detailed comment letter. I'd like a response to those point by point from you as to the changes that you made on the plan. So I guess my question is, would you be able to have that all ready for the next meeting, or would you like to push it into the first
No,
meeting?
I will have it ready for the next meeting.
Okay.
When do you need it before the next meeting? You like it a week before the next? I can
I think so that we'd all have
If
a
I can-
chance.
get it to you sometime next week,
Sure,
okay?
okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that maybe a step further, and not specifically with regards to Graves, but as you witnessed or heard this evening, the abutters have a various number of issues that are major concerns for them, and I think you've seen a lot of emotion that's attached and associated with those concerns. If there's anything that you can do or provide that might help to allay some of those concerns, I think that would be much appreciated. I'm not exactly sure how you could do that or where you could do that, but if any of these things touch base with you, that there's some sort of resolution or some definitive answer or assurance that you can provide, I think that would be much appreciated. By the board at least, and I'm sure by some of the people who spoke this evening as well.
No, I took notes, so I will go through my notes and I will take and do the best I can.
All right, we'll see where that
Okay.
takes us. Thank you.
All right, so we'll continue this on 28th.
Yes,
Yep.
what time?
It's still a public hearing then, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so 7:15?
7:15,
Yeah.
sure.
Right in there.
Okay.
One of the women would like to submit a petition to you. Can she do that?
Yeah.
There's nothing that says it, we can't, right?
Yeah.
Bill?
Sure.
Rules and regulations, we can accept petition.
Hi there.
Hi.
I just wanted to submit, hi there. Just wanted to submit, people sign this petition, just to let you know their names and that they are opposed to this development. So I'm
Excellent.
submitting it right now. I have a copy of it, and I thought you would want it.
That we do. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay, so we'll continue this on April 28th at 7:15.
Okay.
Right, thank you for your patience.
The other concern I would have, Mr. Chairman, is that hopefully the technical issues that we dealt with this evening will have been somewhat resolved by the 28th.
I can't guarantee that.
I wish you could.
I know. They are working on it.
All
and I
right.
hope that it will be resolved
I
by
think
then.
putting in that whole new system, but I mean, I don't think that's gonna be done by.
No, just, even if what we have finally, it put in place, if we could have the assurance that at least we no worse than we are now, anyway. It looked like kind of a, I hate to use an ethnic term, but it looked like a certain fire drill there for a while.
Yeah, I think if we would have had the bigger room, it would have helped a lot. We would have had everybody together, we could have
Right.
projected a little bit better. So hopefully we'll have that. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our police department as well as to our Board of Health for being here tonight and for helping us out. We had a lot of people to deal with
Yes.
and a lot of emotions, and both supported us and the town in the role, and we do appreciate that big time.
Oh, they just left.
Yep. Also, town administrator for Mr. Ruda for organizing everything for us while we were in here trying to deal with technical issues.
Mr. Chairman, I think I would be remiss, and I really wouldn't feel right if I didn't make mention of something. I think there were some aspersions cast in terms of the board, maybe one member more specifically than others. And I don't know where that comes from. I understand and appreciate there's a lot of emotion. Many of these people are long-term residents, and they feel this thing very personally. But I can assure them that I have very high regard for every member of this board. I think everyone here is a person of integrity and value. And one individual in particular, I have admired the effort and the consistency in terms of that effort that he has put forth. And on behalf of myself, I would apologize. And I would hope that some of those people who spoke perhaps earlier in the evening might be inclined to walk back some of their comments.
Thank you, Richard.
Well said, well said. All right, see if I can find a copy of my meeting minutes for tonight or the agenda. So trying to hit the high points here. Bill, is that correct? You want to talk about the discussion of the complete streets plan or program? Or do you want to table that and get right to the discussion of the zoning amendments?
It's up to the board. If the board would like to offer any comments on that draft plan, you could certainly talk about it tonight. I did speak with Ian McElwee from CMRPC. He's available for the next meeting on the 28th to have a more formal discussion on that plan, if that works for you. Or we could push it back.
We could probably wait for that, right, guys?
I think so. I'm concerned that, we had a lot of people here, several were able to speak. I don't know if we continue the public hearing, whether we're going to be running up against the 10 o'clock hour again at the next meeting. And
Yeah.
obviously, we've only covered, not fully, one issue on the agenda.
I mean, I like the amendment. My only question was that the actual, the areas that were selected.
No, we're talking complete streets.
Oh,
Yes.
I guess my thought would
I'm
be,
sorry,
Mr. Chairman,
I
that-
thought, I kind of switched gears there and I didn't
I
notice
think
it.
the late hour might have.
Yeah, I thought we were talking about the zoning amendment
Contribute to some
regarding
of the confusion.
the,
But my
okay.
thought would be to keep the agenda for the next meeting as lean as possible, so that we would give as much opportunity for the public hearing to continue.
Okay.
We have some thought that the developer will
Yeah.
be coming back with some alternatives or ideas or
Sure.
plan changes. It sounds like those two things alone give us a very full plate.
But my only concern is we're up against the deadline for the zoning amendment, because
The next meeting is the last time for the zoning amendment, correct?
Well, to move to the zoning amendments, we do have to advertise the public hearing. It takes 14 days. So we can have that public hearing on the next regular meeting after the 28th, which would be May 12th. Or you could schedule a separate meeting for the first Wednesday of the month, which would be May 5th.
When's the town meeting, the 22nd of May?
The 24th.
So 24th.
So we do have to schedule that hearing. I do need to get the ad in the paper, so we need to set that date tonight.
Through the chair, are we, what are the what are the zoning amendments, other than the cannabis one, what other zoning amendments do we have?
We have a
coming?
citizen's petition to rezone 115 Schofield Avenue to industrial 130, so that an applicant could put in a retail marijuana facility there. We have the marijuana cultivation overlay district, which the board has agreed to sponsor.
Yep.
And then the third one is a self-storage storage facility amendment to allow that by special permit.
And is that also a citizen's petition?
No.
Excuse me?
The
No,
self-storage?
no.
No, Guy, that was actually when I kind of floated the idea way back.
Okay.
What ended up happening there was we went through a thing with an applicant on West Main Street for the leased parking lot. And it turned out that one of his original business proposals that he wanted to do there was self-storage units. And it turned out that the building inspector couldn't allow him to do it because it wasn't. And then I raised the question, I said, well, where in Dudley can you do one? And it turns out, supposedly, there's nowhere in Dudley where you can have a self-storage unit.
Even though we have one.
And we have one. So then we figured that that just was so old that that's kind of like grandfathered in now, that ship has sailed.
Good.
So I thought maybe it would be a good idea to explore adding that as permissible use to some areas, because it can be a lucrative
I mean,
business for someone.
If everybody's available, I would say we should try to do the warrant articles in one night as a special hearing, so that we can take any input from the public and get through all those articles, and then we can vote on our recommendation to the town meeting.
Just the zoning board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an excellent idea.
So you're thinking May 5th?
May 5th, which would be a Wednesday.
Cinco de Mayo?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, the Schofield Ave amendment, that is similar or comparable to what was tabled at the last town meeting?
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yes.
It is the same, and we were in agreement on that then. I know that predates Mr. Horn's involvement, but
Okay.
the board did pass that and was
Yes.
approving.
But we still have to consider it again.
Right,
Have to
I
advertise the
understand,
hearing, et cetera.
but it was tabled last time by the Board of Selectmen, as I
Correct.
recall.
I mean, the only way to get rid of it for a number of years would be if somebody brought it up for reconsideration at the town meeting. Like if it was tabled and then somebody brought it up for reconsideration and then it was defeated, then you can't be brought back for 2 years, I think it is.
If the planning board recommends in favor of the article, it can be brought back within 2 years.
Okay.
So
All right, so
I'll
we-
schedule that then for May 5th.
Okay. And then complete streets, you want to touch on that next week when the CMR? Yeah.
Yeah, we could invite,
Yep.
you know, as you know, Gemma has moved on, but
Yep.
Ian has taken over. He's,
You think it's too much in conjunction with this item, or do you think we should forge ahead with that?
You mean complete streets and the public hearing?
Yeah,
I would do
For
complete
Butler's Lane?
streets on May 12th.
all right.
Just
do
my
that for May
opinion.
12th,
May
okay.
12th, yep.
That sounds better.
All right.
If we could, Dan, to go back to the amendments for a second. They're in your binder in tab C. I know I sent them to you. I'd just like a little feedback before I advertise. Do you have them? The
Zoning
first one
amendment,
is-
self-storage facility, yes.
So I have a definition, and I just sort of took a stab at what districts to allow these in, but I'm not totally confident in that, so I'd like to get your input on that. So I have tentatively said that they would be allowed by special permit of the planning board in the industrial 43 and the light industrial 87. And I have a copy of the map where I had thought we could talk about where you would want to allow them. You would take one, Steve, and pass it down.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that you made comments somewhere, Bill, I'm not sure if it's in this text that I'm looking at right now with regards, I think it was industrial 43, was it, in terms of creating, I believe the term was dead space or something to that effect?
I was referring to West Main Street
West Main, right.
as
where-
a whole.
Yeah, where that pretty much would preclude any further development as far as
Right.
more vigorous commercial property use. Okay.
Exactly.
I think it might be advisable that we not consider industrial 43 for that reason.
Okay, so this map shows the industrial 43 and the LI 87. So there is one industrial 43 down on the sort of the lower end of West Main. And so I was concerned about that, that I didn't know whether that would be appropriate or not. The other thought then would be in LI 87, which is the large industrial area sort of in the northeast part of town. You could also consider, say, industrial 130, but there is a large industrial 130 district on West Main Street as well. So,
So, was it not in LI 43 or industrial 43?
industrial 43 is where I had tentatively said it would be allowed by special permit.
Okay, all right, so that would be like that area down, looks like, what is that, Schofield Ave, going down towards Connecticut?
Yeah, Schofield
there.
Avenue, there's the mill, the Chase Mill is in that
Yeah,
district.
literally across the street from the existing self-storage
Yeah.
facility, correct?
Okay. And
Right,
then-
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, yeah, that is, it's right across the street from the existing self-storage. So, I just don't know whether or not anybody would think to try that commercial endeavor right next door to another one?
Well, you put a
It's not like a-
McDonald's in and you got a
It's
Burger
not like
King
a, I
across
was
the
just gonna
street.
say, it's not quite like a Starbucks where you can put one right across the street
Well,
from.
Dunkin' Donuts will put two franchises,
Yeah, yeah.
50 feet away from each other.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if
As
you
long
want
as
to
there's a
avoid that
Dunkin'
West
Donuts in the
Main
middle.
Street corridor, then you really can't do it. I don't know, I mean,
Again, I was kind of persuaded by Bill's point, and I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, for going past you, but the thought that we want that area open for probably a more intense or more vigorous commercial development of property is something that might be of more value to the community, both in terms of as an asset and as a tax, some tax revenue that it
Well,
might generate.
the only thing is, that looking at this LI 43 area here in this West Main Street corridor, it looks like it's pretty deep. So, I mean, if you put something up in the back there, I mean, in other words, if you wanted to preserve right up against Main Street there for more vigorous commercial development,
Mhm.
then it would be through special permit only anyways. So couldn't the board make the decision that they don't think it's in character with the surrounding businesses there and say no? But then if somebody came and had a parcel in the back there and said, geez, it's kind of hard looking at this map because I'm trying to envision like what businesses are there taking up that space now? Like why is that LI 43 right now? I'm thinking because of the size and how deep it is, there's probably some businesses back there that I'm not thinking of that already exist.
Yeah, well, in terms of.
A lot of it is residential back there also. So
I
it is,
don't know, if you look, I'm just looking at acres and average here. So if you look at all the industrial, whether it be light industrial or industrial land
Yeah.
in Dudley, altogether, we're talking about 1,200 acres of land. When you look at, all the other zones that we have, and you put it together, we're looking at like 13,000 acres of land. I mean, if we allowed it in all the industrial zones, it's not that much space. And I would say that probably half of that land right now is already consumed with something. So you're talking about 500 or 600 acres of land that could be used for such a purpose. The only thing is I don't know if just making it site plan review is gonna be able to make it specific enough. It's not like the cannabis bylaw where you have an overlay district. And every time somebody wanted to do something like this, if it was in an overlay district, they would have to come before the board, put in a proposal. We would have to, basically make it an warrant article. It would get voted in at town meeting. And, it's like the lady just mentioned here, somebody's gotta be the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
That basically puts the gatekeeping, takes it out of our hands and puts it into the town meeting hands so that the people can say, do I want a self-storage unit here? Do I not want a self-storage unit here? I mean, we could allow it in all, we could allow it in all the industrial areas, but maybe make it into an overlay such, so that every time something like that comes up, it goes back to the town meeting, so that people have a say if they want it, you know, because maybe some of this industrial land backs up to residential areas. Or maybe there's already people that have built houses in the industrial area. I know there's an industrial area right across the street from my house, and not a lot of people know it's there, but, you know, when a cell phone tower went up, everybody got upset.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a good point. The more input from the town we have, especially if it's in the process of actual voting for something.
I think it's very hard to
It-
pick,
yep.
an area for this,
Yep.
you know? And you don't wanna count yourself out on it, so I mean,
Yeah.
to just say, like, we could put it in all the industrial areas if it gets approved at town meeting.
So you would say any of the industrial areas as an
Yeah.
overlay.
Yeah, I mean, well, it could be a good use in any of them, but there could be a negative that we don't know about, and you're not gonna know about it until it gets
Right.
proposed.
Right.
And just having a special permit, you know, it's hard to deny a special permit if they come in and don't ask for any waivers.
As long as they
Yeah,
conform, you know, to the regs, then it's hard to deny a special
Gotcha.
permit.
Question?
No, I'm just letting you know, everybody's gone, we're gonna clear out now too.
All right, thank you for your help, big time.
Thank
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Crowd
Thank you all
control.
your help.
Board of Health and Crowd Control.
Who's gonna walk me to my car?
It's not
Oh,
there
that's
anymore.
already gone. You don't have to worry about that.
Actually, I'm not driving that home, putting a fire in the lot.
Yeah.
It was towed away earlier.
So, you know, I could draft this so that it would be an overlay district on all the industrial land, as Guy suggests.
Just a thought, I mean, because like I said, it seems like more and more things pop up. We don't want to necessarily restrict it to just two zones, because that would be half the land.
Yeah.
Where if we give them all the industrial zones as a use, but it's got to go before town meeting to get approved, then, I mean,
Why not 130? Isn't that where that Fish Road thing is gonna go in, that 50,000 foot square greenhouse?
Well, we would include that.
Right.
It would be all
Yeah, but
industrial.
all the industrial. I mean, that's,
Right.
putting that next to a greenhouse that's growing cannabis.
Sure,
is-
right.
is there any way you could combine those two into one article?
What's that?
The cannabis overlay district and the self-storage district, could it be one article?
I think they're two separate issues.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we need to give word, you know, say
okay,
on both of them.
okay.
So since it's 12 after 10, do we have to take a formal vote to extend the meeting until
No, why don't we
10,
just, no, well,
we just push forward?
sure.
All right.
So if that's your preference, then I will draft that as an overlay.
I think it sounds good.
It was just my thought, you know.
No, I think it's a great idea.
No, you can go with that.
The other amendment was the draft overlay for the marijuana cultivation, which has, and Steve had a comment on that, which, you know, I hadn't considered. But the way I've drafted it is that it would be an overlay district with a footnote 20 that says outdoor cultivation of marijuana is allowed by special permit and site plan approval of the planning board in the marijuana cultivation overlay district in accordance with the terms of section 3.15, medical and adult use marijuana establishments of this zoning bylaw. So it would create an overlay district on the property as shown on the following page. And then if it was rezoned by town meeting for that purpose, then they'd have to come in to the planning board to get the special permit for outdoor cultivation.
Bill, did you just say that I had a comment on that?
You had a comment of a minimum lot size requirement.
Oh, that's right, I remember that.
Which I
25
didn't-
acres, I think, was the.
Right, which I
one
did
issue.
not
Right.
put in this. So if you want to see, you know, I could add that into footnote 20, you know, on a lot of a minimum of 5 acres or something of that sort.
Might not be a bad idea, I'm just not quite sure what's the fair number.
Well, the minimum, the maximum amount of square footage you can use to grow cannabis outdoors is 60,000 square feet, so it's about an acre and a half.
Right.
Correct.
So,
I mean, if
I
we're
think
talking
it-
about like somebody who's got an existing house on their property and everything, that takes up part of it. So
right,
you've
but
got
I was thinking maybe if you went 10 times that size, so that way there you can make sure that that area was in the middle of a larger parcel and it wouldn't be affecting the neighbors.
Well, would you grow it at the same, location every year, or would you, move that acre and a half cultivated?
You would grow it in the same
Is there
location.
some soil exhaustion here, or
No, you'd have to, because of the cannabis control,
It would be
you have
fenced,
to have the same
you'd have
plot?
to
yeah, it
spot
would be
it. you know.
fenced and cambered and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
I
you wouldn't wanna
understand the
have to-
security
you
issue.
wouldn't wanna have to re-
I didn't know what the agricultural impact of that on the soil is.
Okay.
Does it deplete the soil such
Yeah,
that
it's a good
you
question.
can't grow it 2 years in a row and you have to leave it fallow for a third year or something? I don't know.
Mhm.
Okay, there's roughly 45,000 square feet in an acre, right?
43.
43,560.
43,560. So if we take, literally 43, you take 60,000 square feet, multiply that by 10, that's 600,000, divided by 1 acre, 43.560, gives you 13.77 acres.
So
14.
round up to 15 acres.
15.
14, 15, yeah.
15 acres? What do you think, Dan?
15 acres, I like it.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
That should give butters a little bit of a buffer.
In breathing room.
And
Sure.
well, maybe who knows what their breathing preferences might be, Mr. Ford,
Breathing.
Okay, I'll revise that accordingly.
And some people
Yeah, whatever.
might be counting on the wind change every now and again for a barbecue or something.
Just a quick comment regarding all this, cannabis business being great for the town and bringing everything in. I'm really starting to get concerned about water. Listening to what we had to listen to on Monday night, the discussions about, that they're mixing water from wells to provide enough water to try and make sure they have enough water for these businesses. And I was thinking about the amount of water that they use, when we had that meeting, the DMA Holdings there, how much water that was gonna use. And I remember I was thinking, could they just take it from the river? And they explained why they can't.
They need the wells.
But if all of a sudden the town just starts bringing in a lot of those businesses, where's all that water gonna come from? Even if they drill their own wells, doesn't that well actually tap into a water table that's servicing residential wells in the area?
Somewhere, I suppose there's an aquifer down there someplace that you probably got a double dip on.
I just hope that somebody is taking notice of this and keeping this in mind before we go.
I don't know the
Wacky tobacco.
selectmen get all glassy-eyed when they talk about the
moolah.
host agreement, and all the money that's coming this way.
I did ask him at the public hearing on the one that was approved for Chase Mill, because they're doing it, indoors, so they need the water and everything. And
Yeah.
my comment to them was, what happens if one day the water stops? And he said they had already made provisions that they could truck the water in that they would need.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
I asked that at the public hearing.
I was wondering how much water, I don't even know how much water a tanker truck holds, but,
Where would they truck it in from, though? Somewhere else in town?
Same place you get swimming pool water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
From a-
if that, suits their need.
from a private well someplace.
Mr. Chairman, if it's in order, I
Nope.
would make, no, it's not in order.
I have two invoices on tab D from Graves Engineering that I'd like your approval or action on. The first one is for the Pierpont Estates Review of Completeness project.
Where is this, tab D?
Yes.
Oh, I can't see that.
That is in the amount of $765. And the second one is for their review of the Butler Way definitive plan for $1,589.50.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize approval to Graves Engineering. Two invoices, first one dated April 7th, 2021, totaling $765. This was for Pierpont, you said? Yes, Pierpont Estates. And the second one dated April 12th, 2021, for the review of Butler's Way.
Second.
Totaling $1,589.50. Sorry.
I have a motion and a second to accept and pay both of these Graves Engineering invoices. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Clear? Now, Mr. Chairman, if it is in order, I will make the motion that we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen, for sticking around, for your patience. And good night.
Before we all go, I'd like to let you know that my